So, when you hear the words robotic surgery, what comes to mind? Probably something straight out of a sci fi movie, right? Like a fully autonomous robot calling the shots, doing the whole procedure by itself. But the reality is actually way more interesting. It's not about replacing the surgeon at all. It's about giving them a set of, well, super powered hands. So let's dive in and see how this amazing tech actually works.
All right, here's what we've got on tap. First, we'll see that this stuff isn't science fiction anymore. Then, we'll get into the anatomy of a surgical robot, what makes it tick. We'll peek inside the operating room, talk about the surgeon who's still very much in command, and wrap up with why this all matters, the smaller scars, and, you guessed it, the bigger benefits. Okay, first things first. To really get a grip on where we are today, we gotta look back at where we came from. I mean, the journey of surgery is just fascinating. We've gone from these huge open wounds to procedures done through incisions so small you could barely fit a key in them. It's a huge leap. And this timeline really tells the story. For, centuries, surgery was, well, it was direct and really invasive. Then in the 60s, things started to change with minimally invasive tools. But the real game changer, that came in the 70s with CT scans. Think about it. For the very first time, surgeons could see a detailed 3D picture before they even made a big cut. That right there paves the way for the incredible computer-assisted precision we see today. And that brings us right up to the modern era and the amazing tech at the heart of it all. So let's pull back the curtain and deconstruct one of the most well-known systems out there, the Da Vinci, to really see how this thing works. All right, here it is in all its glory. Now, I know it looks pretty complex, but trust me, it's easier to understand if you think of it like a surgical symphony. You've got three critical parts all working together in perfect harmony. You've got the surgeon's console, the vision cart, and of course, the patient cart, with those incredible robotic arms.
So first up, let's talk about the surgeon's command center. This is where the magic happens. What's wild is that the surgeon isn't even standing over the patient. Nope, they're sitting a few feet away, completely immersed, looking into this console. And what they see is this incredibly magnified, high-def, 3D view from inside the patient's body. They control everything with these handles that honestly look and feel a lot like high-tech joysticks. So you're probably wondering, how do they get that amazing view? Well, that's where the vision cart comes in. It's basically the system's eyes. It has this super powerful 3D camera, it's called an endoscope, and it gets inserted into the patient through one of those tiny incisions. It gives the surgeon a level of detail and magnification that is just, well, it's way beyond what any human eye could see on its own. And finally, we get to the business end of this whole setup, the patient cart and its robotic arms. These arms are the ones doing the work, holding these teeny tiny surgical instruments. What's incredible is how steady they are. They can completely filter out any natural tremor in a surgeon's hand. And the instruments themselves, they call them endowrist, they can bend and rotate in ways that, well, our human wrists just can't. This gives the surgeon just unparalleled precision, especially when working in really tight spaces. Okay, so we've met the key players, the console, the camera, and the arms. Now let's step inside the OR and see how this whole team comes together during an actual surgery, step by step. The whole process is really a masterclass in precision. First, the surgeon makes a few incredibly small incisions. Then, these little tubes, they call them ports, are placed inside. That's when they bring in the robot and dock its arms to those ports. In go the 3D camera and the tiny instruments. And it's only then that the surgeon sits down at the console and takes control. After the procedure's done, they remove the instruments, close up the tiny incisions, and that's it. It's just a world away from old-school open surgery. And this gives you a little peek behind the curtain at what's happening on the data side of things. The system is constantly crunching information. It's taking these detailed plans made before the surgery, like virtual models of the patient, and mixing that with live, real-time data from all these sensors during the operation. It creates this intelligent feedback loop between the surgeon, the patient, and the machine itself. It's pretty incredible. Now, with all this talk of robots and computers, it's really easy to get the wrong idea. So let's be perfectly clear about something that's absolutely vital to remember. The surgeon is always in command. This is not a self-driving car. Yeah, this quote just hits the nail on the head. The robot is not making decisions, it's not going rogue and doing things on its own. Every single movement, every cut, every stitch is a direct translation of what the surgeon is doing at the console. It's an incredibly advanced tool, for sure, but at the end of the day, it's a tool in the hands of a highly skilled human expert. And learning to use this tool, it takes some serious commitment.
We're talking about extensive, specialized training. A lot of surgeons will even do formal fellowships that are dedicated just to robotic surgery. They have to master this completely new skill, translating their own hand, wrist, and finger movements into the tiny, precise micro movements of a robot. It's demanding stuff. And when you put them side by side like this, you really see the magic. I mean, the human hand is a natural wonder, right? The dexterity is amazing. But the robotic wrist just takes things to a whole other level. You get a much greater range of motion, it totally cancels out any little tremor, and it lets surgeons work with unbelievable precision in these tiny, hard-to-reach spots inside the body.
So all this incredible technology, all this training, it all leads to this. The most important part, the benefits. I mean, why go to all this trouble? The answer is simple. It leads to way better outcomes, not just for the patient, but for the surgeon too. And look, the benefits here are huge. They really change the whole experience for the patient. We're talking less pain, a lower risk of infection, way less blood loss, and a much faster recovery time because of those tiny scars. And for the surgeons, that crystal clear 3D view and the improved dexterity, it's not just about making the job easier. It actually expands what they're even able to do surgically. This isn't just a small step up. It's a total win-win that's redefining the standard of care. So, do the results back it up? Oh yeah, they absolutely speak for themselves. You're looking at an overall success rate between 94 and 100%. And that number comes directly from that enhanced precision and control we've been talking about this whole time. No tremors, better access, a clearer view. This is not some experimental thing anymore. It's a proven, reliable technology that delivers fantastic outcomes time and time again. So think about how far we've come. From massive open surgery to tiny keyhole incisions guided by a surgeon's hands from across the room. But this story is far from over. The next chapter is already being written with artificial intelligence. Imagine AI helping to plan surgeries, identify tissues in real time, and give guidance during the operation. It really makes you wonder, right? What does the operating room of the future look like? And what's the next giant leap for surgery?